Sounds like a Hollywood thriller, doesn't it? I mean, it's a paranoid conspiracy thriller that moves from one thrilling action set to the next. That subversive and, and as well as, edge of your seat local action film, Indemnity, which premieres in South Africa on the 13th of May. It stars Nicole, Fortuin, Andre Jacobs and Gail Mabalane. Also on the cast is Jarrid Geduld, who plays the character of Theo Abrahams, and joining us in this conversation is Benjamin Overmeyer, who is the executive producer at Gambit Films. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, this is truly an edge of your seat film. What really inspired it? I'm going to start with you, Ben.
So, firstly, I want to, say thank you for having us, and, with our great hope is for people to join us in cinema on the 13th of May for what is South Africa's largest action film to date. It's been a long time in the making. I think the time is right in South Africa for us to do big genre-type films. It's something that hasn't been done before. Like I said, this is the biggest action film to come out of South Africa, perhaps even Africa. I think the audience is ready. I think South Africa has always been waiting for something like an action film of this scale and scope. There's many firsts in the film. It's really the spectacle and the scale and scope of it is something that's never been seen before. So I think, it's been many years in the making for Gambit Films, but we're very proud to be at this moment here on the precipice of having South Africa have the opportunity to watch it in cinemas nationwide.
Okay. So what kind of themes are explored in this film?
So really, it's a man on the run kind of thriller. There's, Theo, played by Jarrid, he's going to be South Africa's action hero, like none before. He's a firefighter suffering from PTSD, having lost some of his crew members in a particular incident. He wakes up one morning to find his wife, has been murdered. They try to pin it on him, but he goes on a run to prove his innocence, essentially. And in doing so, uncovers this massive conspiracy, that makes its way into the government halls and continentally. And really, as he's trying to prove his innocence, he unearths this greater conspiracy that then, he has to go on a mission to try and really, one, liberate himself from the accusations, and two, put a spotlight onto the greater conspiracy. And it does touch on PTSD, he's a firefighter, and I think, there's a lot to be said about, the heroes, the real world heroes, around us, and to understand the effects of things like PTSD, on these individuals. But really, in a nutshell, it's an action thriller. It's a man on the run. It's big. It's explosions. It's full body burns. It's rolling cars. It's thrilling. It's on the edge of your seat. Action all the way through.
It certainly is. Right. It certainly is. Let's now hear it from the man himself, the main man.
Yeah.
Now, Jarrid, just how easy was it to tap into the character Theo? Let's talk about your character first and foremost.
Well, yeah, I mean, as Ben said, I played the role of Theo Abrahams, and Theo's a man who's flawed with his own personal issues, and not giving himself the opportunity or allowing himself to really deal with whatever he's dealing with in terms of trauma.
Yes.
But yeah, man, Theo's a firefighter who, as Ben said, has been laid off from work as a result of, a on-the-job incident that happened. And, his main objective is to, really get back into the field and get back to work. But he's really not allowed to step back into the field and take his position as the captain of the fire department, pending a psychological evaluation.
Okay.
And he's quite resistant in a way to really go and see a psychologist and really deal with the issues, just so that he can make sure that he's safe enough to really step back into the field. And that in itself also touches on various other things, when we're talking about toxic masculinity and stuff like that. Where we as men and as young men, also find it really hard and difficult to accept help. When help is really, really needed. And so there's really nice elements to the film that we deal with, in a sense.
What I quite like about the film is that, it touches and explores issues that we face on a daily basis. I mean, post-traumatic stress disorder is a very big issue. Toxic masculinity, as we've mentioned, is one of the biggest issues that we grapple with on a daily basis here in South Africa. Now, let's talk about how easy or difficult it was for you to tap into the shoes of Theo. Do you see yourself in Theo, or do you see some qualities that Theo might possess?
I would say, man, look, I've played various roles over the last 20 years, and I think individually each character poses a certain amount of challenges.
Okay.
Theo specifically posed a great amount of challenges for myself as an actor. You know, it posed both physical and mental challenges, and sometimes, you know, I found myself having to incorporate both the physical and the mental attributes into various moments of the film. But I think, you know, with what Gambit Films and the executive producers of Gambit Films did so well was, you know, put together a team both in terms of crew but also in terms of the training, the physical training for myself in order to play Theo. You know, they really kind of went above and beyond to make sure that I was fully prepared, and you know, that by the time we were at day one of filming, I could physically handle myself. And then, you know, in terms of the acting and the psyche of Theo Abrahams, you know, that for me was a special one. You know, I had to kind of, for me, it's always finding something that humanizes the character. You know, for me, that's very important, because then we perform and act out of a place of realness and out of a place where the audience can connect, and that's very important for me. So finding that was also very, very important, and you know, doing a little bit of research based on PTSD and trauma as a whole, because at the end of the day, those are real world problems and issues that people deal with on a daily basis.
And I think finding the human element is very, very key, because it might be fiction, but you know, that human aspect of the storyline is what makes it more, you know, more appealing. And Benjamin, I get a feeling that this will be the next big thing, so much that it received 12 nominations. So what is it about this film that makes it resonate with reviewers and critics alike?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, the great cast, people like Gail, Mabalane, Jarrid Geduld, you know. It's traveled internationally, it's done well in the US, it's in Japan, it's all over the place. I mean, we're really excited for South African audiences to get their opportunity to watch what is essentially their story. And I think it's about scale and scope. Action as a genre, you know, it's entertaining. I mean, there's layers to the kind of story, like Jarrid has been talking about, you know, but there's also just entertainment of an action genre, you know. All the actors did their own stunts, you know, which is a great testament to, you know, the commitment. We broke certain records, you know. It's all about the fight sequences. He took 3 months, you know, to perfect those fight sequences with, you know, our great stunt team, Stunt SA, with Vernon and Grant. You know, he's jumping out of a 21st story building. Whoa. I think that's it over there on the screen there. And that's him really doing. That's Jarrid out the 20, which is a South African record as far as we understand. So on the 21st story, you know, he's escaping. So, you know, there's thrills, there's spills, there's, you know, there's a full body burn, I said earlier. So all things action, fight sequences, and so I think people love that kind of entertainment. We really haven't had the opportunity to see it told holistically from a South African point of view. I mean, this is South African written, produced, acted, you know, it's authentically homegrown, and the world is ready to hear these stories. But it's so important for us that on the 13th of May, you know, every single South African, you know, has an opportunity to come and, you know, participate, get you know, watch the film, support local filmmaking. 13th of May, Gambit Films, action thriller. Jarrid, you know, he's our action hero. He's a, you know, it's got all the spills and thrills, like you said, edge of seat kind of thing. And I think, you know, the time is right for that. You know, people want that kind of excitement and that entertainment, and, you know, the nuances of the backdrop of South African culture and our stories and our landscapes.
We're out of time, unfortunately. Jarrid, let's talk about, you know, these stunts. I'm sure it took a great deal of mental preparation.
Yes, it did, and it's like what Benjamin was saying now, you know. We had Gambit Films put together a really good team. And it started with, obviously, the stunt team, you know, and Vernon Willemse and Grant Powell. Vernon Willemse, who was our stunt coordinator, you know, put together a team of professionals ranging from various forms of mixed martial arts, and also nutritionists, and then, you know, putting me through a 3-month period of, like, physical training, you know, ranging from hand-to-hand combat, you know, fitness, nutrition, and also just endurance. And then, you know, kind of then building on that, bringing in another fight choreographer who was Grant Powell, and then using my newfound talent and expertise in terms of the stunt and fight world, and then laying the foundation of the style of Theo Abrahams. And what they did was really a testament to the level of experience we have in our country. And that's one of the very good, very main reasons why we need to have people go and check out the film on the 13th of May is just incredibly satisfying to see a group of individuals headed by Gambit Films, who put together this team of people who dared to have the audacity to dream big and to show the world that we can achieve this level of filmmaking, especially in a genre that's so expensive in terms of action. And to really be up there with the giants.
Unfortunately, I wish, because there's so much more that I need to know about this film. And I know that this is Hollywood material. And thank you so much, gentlemen, for having shown the world that we can actually take South African film onto the global stage.
13th of May. We're looking forward to everybody supporting.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Great stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. Jarrid Geduld plays the character of Theo Abrahams in the subversive, edge-of-your-seat local action film Indemnity. With him was Benjamin Overmeyer, who is the executive producer at Gambit Films. Indemnity opens in South Africa on the 13th of May, so this is a definite must-see.